Hey everyone, Kylie here. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, I'm Kylie. I'm an American living in Portugal since 2022, and I make videos about life, business, and finance here in Portugal as an expat. Today's video is going to be more of a personal one. And while it is a more personal video, I do think it might make nice food for thought for those of you considering making your first move abroad or for those of you who are already living abroad. So with that said, today's video is going to be about why I plan on leaving Portugal at some point, probably in a year or two. In addition to sharing why I plan on leaving Portugal at some point, I'm also going to share the potential downsides of moving away from Portugal, when I plan to leave Portugal, and finally, where I plan on moving instead. Now, let's go ahead and get into the content. To get started, let's get some context going and talk about why I decided to move to Portugal in the first place. So if you've seen my previous videos, then you might remember that there are three primary reasons why I decided to move to Portugal in the first place. And those three reasons include the Portuguese lifestyle, the ability to save a lot of money on my day-to-day expenses, as well as just the opportunity to grow as a businesswoman and a person in general. To be honest, I think right now that I really am living my best life in Portugal. I'm saving a ton of money on all of my day-to-day expenses, and I really do see a lot of growth in myself since the time that I moved here. And while living here does come with its fair share of challenges, I'm definitely the happiest I've been in my entire life. Now, that brings me to the question, why do I plan on leaving Portugal at some point? It's funny because the reason I plan on leaving is basically the result of all of the growth and learning I've done over the past 6 or 7 months of living here in Portugal. Basically, after moving here, I think my eyes were really opened to even more possibilities for my future. By that, I mean, after I moved to Portugal, I started doing more research and realized that there are potentially several other countries out there that offer similar lifestyle, money-saving opportunities, and chances to grow as Portugal. I honestly believe that Portugal has really been propped up as one of the hottest places to move abroad if you're American, if not the hottest place to move abroad. However, I've come to realize that there are many other countries out there actually that offer a lot of what Portugal does, but are just flying under the radar. I guess you can say that moving to Portugal really opened my eyes to see that there's even more opportunity out there. And because of this, I don't see myself living here forever. Now, if the world was perfect and I always had everything my way, I would say that I would want to always have one foot in Portugal for the rest of my life. By that, I mean that I would always have my own house or apartment here in Portugal to come back to for vacation or just part-time living purposes. Ideally, this would be someplace outside of Lisbon in the countryside where life is a little bit quieter and slower. The reason being simply because I really do love this country so much, and I think it would be really hard for me to have no connection to it or not to have my own place here to come back to and enjoy and share with other people. Although there are other countries that I want to explore potentially living in, I think that personally for me, it will be really hard to find another country where I enjoy the day-to-day lifestyle of as much as I do here in Portugal. Now let's get into the potential downsides of leaving Portugal and going to make some other country my home base. The first potential downside is potentially losing my Portuguese residency. I want to make a disclaimer and say that I haven't done a ton of research on maintaining Portuguese residency after you've attained it, so please don't take anything I say here as advice on what you should do in your own situation regarding keeping your residency. In addition to the three primary reasons why I decided to move to Portugal, another reason why I wanted to come and live here was so that I could get Portuguese residency and in a couple of years potentially get the Portuguese passport. Of course, if I leave Portugal though and go live somewhere else, I run the risk of perhaps losing my Portuguese residency, and therefore I would potentially fall off the track of getting that passport. If I lose the opportunity to get the passport, then that's just a huge blow in one of the main reasons I decided to come here in the first place. The second potential downside of moving away from Portugal is losing a lot of money. If you've seen my previous videos, then you might know that I'm saving more than $1,000 every month on day-to-day expenses thanks to living here. However, moving costs can be super expensive, and I'm not guaranteed to get as good of a deal on an apartment, for example, in another country as the deal that I've gotten here. That said, moving to another country I might run the risk of potentially losing a lot of money that I could otherwise be saving. Then, of course, the third potential downside of moving away to another country is deciding that I don't like it there so much and I have to come right back to Portugal and start over again. I'm kind of hesitant to name this as a risk because I'm a firm believer in you don't know till you try. However, it is worth mentioning that it is a risk that you run. So when do I see myself leaving Portugal? I see myself potentially moving away part-time in early 2024 and then maybe full-time towards the end of the year. By that, I mean at the beginning of 2024, I would keep my apartment here but go out exploring different countries for several months before making a decision of where I wanted to live and then making a more official move towards the end of the year. I think when we talk about plans such as moving abroad to a different country, timing is always the most iffy part of it all. I'm confident that we can all set our minds to do something like moving abroad to another country. However, timing and thinking that you can get something done at a certain time or within a certain time limit is often the thing that's very unpredictable and difficult to follow through with. And this brings me to the final point: where would I plan on moving if I leave Portugal? I'm honestly very curious about life in a few different places, including Dubai and a few locations in Southeast Asia, including Singapore and Malaysia. There's always the possibility of me moving back to the United States. However, I think that is less likely to happen than me either staying in Portugal or going to another country. Now, you might be thinking that Dubai, Singapore, and Malaysia are all wildly different than Portugal, and you're right. But to be honest, that's kind of the point. I've been to Dubai before, and honestly, although I really don't like the whole mega big city feel or the fact that it doesn't have all the outdoor activities that I like doing, I love the multiculturalism, the diversity of the people living there, and just the safety factor of the UAE in general. As a younger woman, it's really hard to explain how comfortable I felt walking around alone in the center of Dubai. And although Portugal is very safe, I still don't necessarily have that same feeling here as that I had in Dubai. And then you might already know that Dubai offers some pretty amazing tax benefits for the small business owners and self-employed people of the world, which is great for me. Then there is Singapore and Malaysia, and I've been to Southeast Asia before, but never those countries. Singapore has been an expat hub for years, and I kind of feel like it's one of the OG places for Americans to move to if they want to go to a foreign country. Many of the reasons I'm interested in moving to Singapore are similar to the reasons of why I'm interested in moving to Dubai, but then on top of that, Singapore also has a very outdoorsy activity feel that Dubai doesn't have to offer. Then there is Malaysia. Malaysia really has taken off in the past couple of years as a newer, cheaper alternative to Singapore. Not only is Kuala Lumpur booming, but I've done quite a bit of research on the Malaysian suburbs and countryside, and I found that there's a lot of really great living options for a very low price tag with a lot of activities to do in the surrounding areas. As I continue to do my research, I'm sure that there will probably be other countries that I become interested in moving to, but for now, these are the three that I'm most interested in. All right, everybody, that about does it for this video. If you've made it until the end of the video, thank you. Staying and watching the whole thing really does help my channel grow. In addition to that, liking the video also does give me a big hand, so if you do give it a like, I super appreciate it. Also, of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to stay up to date on the latest content I upload. And that does it for now. I will see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.